What is going on, everyone? Today on the Level 1 podcast, we've got technical issues to discuss, schedule changes to figure out, and, well, a nice chill day. That's it. All right. See you after the bumper. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm DSP, and this is the Level 1 podcast for Saturday, the 20th of April, 2024, or you're a strange person. You think today has something to do with a leaf that you roll into something and smoke or eat, causes ridiculous side effects like being hungry for Funyuns. Anyway, hello. We got a good amount of stuff to talk about today. But it's nothing too particularly super important or anything like that. But it's like housekeeping stuff. So I hope that those of you that like the show and just want to kind of hang around will. But FYI, outside of some schedule changes that we have to kind of talk out and figure out, nothing too crazy on today's show. Just going to say that up front. No ginormous news stories, except TikTok is getting banned, which we'll talk about. But outside of that, it's kind of a chill day. So first of all, before we even get started, we are getting, once again, near record-breaking heat here in Washington State. I feel like I say this 7 times a year at this point, because it's true. Like, every year now, it's like, new record-breaking heat day. Well, if you have it so many times during the year, it's getting kind of ridiculous at this point. We're just becoming the common thing that it's always hotter than it used to be, right? Today we're supposed to have temperatures in the mid-70s outside, which is unseasonably warm for spring. But that means that my room will probably be about 95 degrees at some point, depending on how strong the sun is going to be, which is supposed to be full sun until 3 p.m. Around 3 p.m. we're supposed to get clouds and then rain. So hopefully, mid-afternoon here it'll cool down. It is what it is. I'm not putting my air conditioner in yet. We're in mid-April. And likely I'm going to have to put it in around like May-ish. So I'm trying to hold off as much as I possibly can. But, I don't want to have that cost of, having that thing running all the time. Plus, I don't get fresh air in here when that thing is in here. So I'm trying to hold off as much as I can. We'll see. But that's why this shirt is so cooling. I actually wore this shirt for the first time on my birthday, during my birthday marathon. It is like this nice, like stretchy but wicking material. Very comfy and aerated. And I really liked it during my birthday marathon. So I was like, if it's going to be really hot today, I want to wear the shirt that essentially will be keeping me the coolest. And this one I think will. So there you go. Because some people are like, well, why wasn't he wearing his shirt that looks like it's a bunch of weed? Well, first of all, it's not. It's like a bunch of like tropical palm tree style, leaves. But admittedly, if you look at it quick, you might think it's a bunch of weed leaves, which it's not. And I thought about wearing that today. But this shirt is much more comfy for the hotter day, so I wore this one, so too bad. Anyway, so today, just to forewarn everyone, I'm probably going to be pretty warm all day long. I might be grumpy. I'm sorry about that. When it gets very hot and I get sweaty, I get grumpy. And plus, I'm playing Elden Ring, which is challenging, and it's like, well, it is what it is, okay? Now, let's talk about a few different things. First of all, I want to talk about, yet again, a schedule change, because, ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We are not doing the Beyond Two Souls co-op tonight on the late stream as planned. And at this point, all right, what I'd like to do is just say up front, I apologize, obviously, not intended, but at this point, I'm going to put that idea on indefinite hiatus until I am 100% sure it's happening. Because at this point, I don't like overpromising and under-delivering, and this is like the 10th time. I know that's an exaggeration. This is probably like the 3rd time that co-op was planned and then postponed. There's no big conspiracy theory here, although there'll be probably 27 conspiracy theory videos on the internet about this later today from losers who have nothing to do with their lives and just make shit up for money, and people are so dumb they watch their shit content and give them money. My wife just doesn't feel good today. We were all again gung-ho to do it today, and last night Kat says my stomach doesn't feel good. I was like, what, really? Because we were eating the same food or whatever, and then basically she had like bad stomach pain and she didn't get a good sleep last night, which I was worried. I actually posted up last night on Twitter and on the community tab of this page to warn everyone she wasn't feeling good, just so everyone kind of knew that this was going on. And yeah, she basically didn't have a very good night. And, you know, woke up today and she's not feeling good. She's probably going to be resting most of today. And it's like, well, I guess we shouldn't do the co-op today. I mean, she's even going to not be making as elaborate of a meal for dinner. Like, she was going to make something to bake in the oven. She's like, no, I'm just going to do something quick on stovetop today. You know, I'm not feeling too good. So, you know, there you go. Now, the thing is, we've been talking about this co-op for like a month now, correct? And every week we just try to schedule it, and we're like, we're going to do it on a Tuesday. That doesn't work. Let's do it on a Wednesday. Then it gets postponed. Let's do it on a Saturday. That doesn't work. We'll do another Saturday. So it's at least, it's been 3 postponings, 4 postponings, whatever it may be. It almost feels like it's cursed. Like, it's destined never to happen, but I don't want to be a stupid idiot about it. Like, I know that we're going to eventually do it. It's just a matter of when. Because we are excited to do it. Because I 100%, just to confirm, I said to her last night, so I just want to be sure you still want to do it, right? And she's like, oh, yes, I definitely want to do it. She wants to play this game. She's wanted to play or watch a playthrough of Beyond Two Souls for the longest time. And that's why we saved this. I bought this game over a month ago. It was on sale. I bought it and installed it on my PS5, and we've just been waiting to do it. And things just keep happening, okay? So at this point, it's indefinitely postponed, meaning there's no way I'm putting it in the schedule right now until we get a situation where we're absolutely sure we're doing it. Just to forewarn everyone, probably not next week regardless, because next week we have a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that's going to keep us very busy all week, notably appointments and other things that are already happening. So it would be stupid for us to even try to squeeze it in next week. So I will let you all know. At this point, it's looking like maybe sometime in May when we get a time to start it. And I apologize to those looking forward to it. I am too. We are too, I should say. It's just life. Okay? All right. So that's off the table. And because of that, you know, I weighed and balanced, you know, what should we do tonight? I mean, we could just do another late night chill session like we did last week, but we kind of already did that. And the whole reason I think the late night chill sessions work is because they're only about once a month, but they're fresh, they're different, they break up content. So tonight, my idea for the late stream tonight is basically just, let's do a late night stream of some Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection, which we know is a broken and silly and wonky game. It's not serious. It's just kind of messing around while we hang out. So I think that's what we'll do tonight. Just for fun, for a silly stream. Okay, I think it'll be something interesting. And if you don't care about it, it's all good. We don't have to. You know, it's not a serious stream. If you want to just come by and hang out while I play a silly game and make jokes, I mean, that's really what it's going to be. I don't care about performing well in this game or whatever. It doesn't even run well, so performing in it is a moot point, right? It's just kind of dumb. So. Granddad says maybe just surprise us at this point when you end up doing it so it doesn't overpromise and underdeliver. It may very well be that. Seriously, it may very well be that 1 week we're like a day away from a weekend and then be like, oh, I'm just going to do it on Saturday night. You know, just change the schedule around or whatever. Very well might be like that because at this point, like, whenever we schedule it, some other circumstance happens and it's like, there's just no point anymore, you know? So anyway, tonight, late stream will be Star Wars Battlefront. If you want to come by and hang out, it's a silly stream. I'm not going to be taking this thing seriously. I'll be joking, probably singing, dicking around, laughing and having a good time with chat. Last time we did this a few weeks ago, it was impromptu and it worked well. I just want to do that kind of silly fun again tonight. So let's see how it goes. Fair enough? Okay. Now, before we get to the updated schedule and before we get about all this other stuff, I want to talk about these technical issues that I had yesterday because I had so many, and I really don't know where they came from or what caused them, and I'm very confused, and I don't want them to happen again. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we can get to the bottom of this, or at least kind of talk it out and try to figure out what was happening. So just listen to all this stuff that happened yesterday, okay? Because it's so much. So first of all right, I'm streaming my podcast yesterday, just like I'm doing right now. Like, no different from right now. It's kind of exactly the same situation. And as my podcast is going, everything on my PC, all my stats look fine. You know, my CPU use is good. My internet's in the green. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, both of my monitors turn off as if my PC is going into some kind of a rest mode. Now, just to make this clear, I don't have my PC enabled for rest mode. All the power saving features are off. They've always been disabled because I'm a streamer. I can't have my PC going into a power saving mode or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm confused as to what that was. And as it happens, I was like, huh? So I just took my mouse here and I started moving it around. And then all of a sudden, everything just turned back on fine, no problems. And I asked my chat, I said, hey, what's going on? You know, and they said, yeah, all of a sudden you like chopped and lagged up for a second there, but then it came right back. I was like, I don't know what caused that. You would think that if it was overheating or something like that, there'd be a warning, or it wouldn't just be everything turns off, right? It's just bizarre that happened. Now, to be clear, this has happened before. This is not the first time I've seen this happen, but it is so rare that it happens. Right? I haven't seen it as a regular occurrence. It's like maybe once a year. You know what I mean? It's a rare occurrence. So I don't know what caused it because it's such a infrequent thing. So that was the first thing. Okay? So the whole stream came back, no problems. And then all of a sudden, within like a minute, my microphone malfunctioned. So I'm like, and it just stopped. Now, this has happened before many, many times. It doesn't happen nearly as frequently today as it used to. But when the microphone malfunctions, it usually is like a Windows driver issue. And all I got to do is I have to restart my streaming software. And then it just works fine again. So I was like, there's not much I can do about that. Let's just do that. So I did. I stopped recording, shut down the stream, turned the stream back on. Everything's good. All right? So I went through the entirety of my podcast. But as I was getting to the end of it, I noticed that the frame rate on my preview over here was very, very low. I have a preview window open on my PC through OBS, Open Broadcast Software, and it shows me what I'm streaming, right? I can see my ugly self right there on the screen. It's very disturbing. I don't know why you guys could put up with looking at me all day. It's gross. And I'm looking at myself, and I'm a good frame rate right now. I'm about 25, 30 frames, which is what I aim for. My webcam doesn't do higher than 30 frames. So it's good. It looks clear. It looks nice. And all of a sudden, around the end of the podcast yesterday, I started looking over there, and it was getting very choppy, like very low frame rate, like half of that maybe. And I even said to everyone, are you guys seeing this? And people were like, no, we don't notice. I was like, oh, maybe it's just my preview then. So I ended my show, and we jumped into Helldivers 2. I start playing Helldivers 2, and people were like, oh, it's choppy. And I'm like, wait a minute. I just asked if it was choppy, and people were saying it wasn't, but now people were saying it was choppy. So I looked at my preview, and yeah, my preview was choppy. And so I played for the first hour, and then after that, I said, well, I got to try something. I don't want to do a 3-hour choppy stream. So I literally just restarted my whole PC, refreshed everything. So now every cache has been freed up. Everything's good. I boot up OBS. We go to play. Perfect. No problems. 2 hours of silky smooth 60 frames per second gameplay. Everything's good. Okay. So I guess that's maybe what it was. You know, actually, I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I don't remember when I restarted my PC last, so it definitely could have been like a while, and maybe that's what it was. It happens, right? So everything's well and good. I upload the videos, you know, I explain it. The first video was choppy or whatever. And basically then, I go ahead and I start my Street Fighter stream last night. And again, Street Fighter, very demanding game, you know, 60 frames, tons of detail in the graphics or whatever. So I start to play with Blanca, and within 10 minutes, I'm looking over here, and it looks choppy again. And I say to everyone, well, how does the stream look? And some people are like, oh, no, those are good. And others like, no, it's choppy. So I think what it is that a lot of people already watch my streams at such a low res. Like, I'm curious, if I were to poll my viewing audience of hundreds of people who watch me live every day. Like, right now, we've got probably 200, 300. We actually have more than I thought. We have 310 and climbing on the stream. Out of those of you who are here, what resolution do you watch the stream? And you know what? I'm going to do a poll. Okay. What resolution do you watch my stream at? Below 480p. Actually, it wouldn't be 480. Yeah, it would be 480p. 720p. Oh, wait. 480p. 720p. Or 1080p. Okay? I wonder how many of you don't even know. Because how many people probably just open up my stream on their phone or on their whatever it is, right? So you don't even know what resolution you're watching me at. Right now, if you're watching this live, the 300 of you, I urge you, whatever device you're on, open it up, look and see if it says what resolution you're on. I would love your feedback, okay? Because I would guess there's so many people that don't know that you're not watching at 60 frames because you may say, well, what's the difference? You can only see my content at 60 frames per second if you're watching at 720p or higher. YouTube does not do 60 frames per second below 720p. So if you watch at 480p, if you watch at 140p, if you're watching at those resolutions, you're not getting 60 frames anyway. So when I ask, hey, do I look choppy? It's very, very possible that many of you can't tell the difference anyway, right? So everyone's literally giving a different answer here. Seriously, everyone's giving a completely different answer. So I think that's what it is. It's hard for me to get a legit answer from the audience when I ask, but everyone's doing a different situation, so there's no consensus, right? So anyway, during the Helldiver stream, first hour was choppy. I refresh, I booted up, 2 hours, smooth. Street Fighter stream, I started up, it's choppy again. So here's what I did. I played for the first hour, and then I stopped. I restarted OBS totally again, and I opened it up, and I did 90 straight, or excuse me, about 90 straight minutes of smooth 60 frames per second gameplay again. So what is going on with my setup that is causing it to chop up like that? But then if I just refresh it, it's perfectly fine, right? That's bizarre. I'm wondering what could be causing it. And I don't know. I'm not a tech guy when it comes to PCs these days. And plus my PC is 10 years old. So who knows what it could be, right? I'm hoping it doesn't mean that it's ending end of life or nearing end of life. If it is what it is, I guess. I hope that it's just a one-off thing. Maybe it was just a bad day. Who knows, right? But I'm confused that if simply restarting OBS fixes the issue, that's weird to me, right? It's just a refreshing, like, why can't I find a way to just do that during the stream, right? You know what I will do next time? I'm going to test today. If this happens today, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to force refresh my capture device. Instead of refreshing OBS itself, I'm actually going to do a force refresh of my capture device and see if that works. Because that has happened before where I've done that and it seems to clear up frame rate issues. So that's what I'm going to do today. If I'm playing Elden Ring or we're playing Star Wars tonight and it chops up, let me know. Tell me if you start to see chop. And I'm going to try to do a force refresh on the capture device and see if that fixes the issue. If that doesn't fix the issue, then we know it's something to do with my PC setup. Okay? At least we can isolate the issue. So, right now I don't look choppy, correct? I'm looking good. On my screen, I'm looking smooth. Hopefully, everything is looking smooth on your end too, guys. And hopefully we have a nice smooth stream today. Sorry for the technical issues yesterday. Let's hope it was just kind of a one-off bad day. You know, if it could go wrong, it will go wrong. The Murphy's Law deal. Right now, thankfully, we're about 20 minutes into the podcast. I'm not seeing any technical issues. Nothing with the internet. Nothing with the connection. No choppiness. The screens aren't turning off. Okay? So hopefully everything is good. Cool. All right. So, now, all that being said, by the way, the poll is running. About 43% of people are saying they watch me at 1080p. Let's take a look at the other answers. It says 18% of people watch me at 720p. Over 34% people are watching me below 480p. They just watch everything at a low res. That's crazy. How do you do that? You seriously watch everything at a low res? That's nuts. It's like watching fuzz, peach fuzz on your screen, right? Spragonito says, what's your CPU use? I'm currently at 38% right now. And that's what I mean. Since I split, remember last year, I changed my settings. When I stream, I believe the stream is running on the graphics card and the direct capture is running on the CPU. So because I shared that work between two devices, I don't have issues with overloading my components anymore. I did when I used to do everything through the CPU. It used to be like 95%. So it probably was like massively overheating and running super hot, but it's not doing that anymore. So I don't know what would have caused this issue yesterday. That's what I mean. It's not. I agree that I used to overwork my PC every single day, but now it's like it's low. It's very low. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So no co-op tonight. We're gonna do some Star Wars silliness instead. And no no technical issues as of today so far. Let's hope for the best. So now let's go through the schedule. Here's the thing. We're gonna kind of have an open stream this week or two. And I'm curious what you guys would like to see during those streams. So let's talk about that. So today, we're returning to Elden Ring. And Elden Ring is going to start in Farum Azula. We are right at the Godskin Duo. And I almost beat them. I was like so close to beating them last stream. The problem was I kept running low on FP. So I think today what I'm going to do to beat them is I'm going to stop dual wielding the staves, which seems to be my downfall at this point. I'm going to go back to having the one-handed staff and the Moonlight Greatsword, not Moonlight Greatsword, the Darkmoon Greatsword. And I'm going to basically keep casting spells, and then, you know, when I get low on FP, then I could go to the Greatsword. Probably the right move at this point to try against these guys. I think I'll be able to beat them quickly, I hope. If not, well, it's a challenge. Once we get past them, I think we have the second half of Farum Azula, and I'm not remembering exactly all of it, but I know there's an optional area where you fight that ginormous dragon in, like, you have to go like a time warp. And you fight them in the past, right? So obviously I want to do that. And I think there's like one or two other things to do. I can't really remember. And then there's the finale of Farum Azula. So we're doing all that today. And we'll see how long it takes. And if we get past that, we have an option. And I'm going to need your help to determine, because I don't remember how it works. Can you go back to the capital and fight some of the bosses but not finish the game? I don't remember how far you can get or if there's a point of no return. Like, can I go there and fight the first few bosses, but then leave to go do the other stuff and then come back and fight the final boss? Or once you get into that final area, are you committed to fighting all the bosses? I can't remember. Nor do I think I cared, because I think at that point I'd done everything else in the game. So, I guess we'll see today how far we get. But obviously there's other stuff to do. Besides beating the game, I have to go back to that frozen northern area and keep exploring. There's optional bosses and things up there. And then there's a dungeon that you have to beat so you can unlock the Haley Tree. And then you go to the Haley Tree, and of course, that's its own crazy difficult dungeon, all of that. So we got all that stuff coming up still in Elden Ring. I just don't know how long to get to it or whatever, because I don't remember. I actually don't remember a lot of this endgame stuff. So I guess we'll see when we get to it. But I'm sure you guys will be here. You'll help me out to figure it out and all of that, and I appreciate that very much, okay? And so tonight, 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. It will not be co-op. Instead, it'll be some Star Wars, Battlefront, Classic Collection, silliness, not to be taken seriously, just kind of messing around. You can defeat the final boss and then still do optional stuff without even going to New Game Plus. Is that true? So you could beat the final boss and then we could go do the northern stuff in the Haley Tree after the final boss? Interesting. I didn't even know that. That's silly, but okay. Well, we'll figure it out. Anyway, so tonight, silliness in Star Wars. Come by. It's going to be more of a silly, laid-back atmosphere, joking around, having conversation, laughing, singing, being stupid, and, of course, shooting things. It's not a serious game, okay? Tomorrow, Sunday, is React Day. So the first stream will be DSP versus the Internet over on DSP Reacts. It's our weekly Clips React show. And then tomorrow night will be the continuation of my retro react of The Walking Dead Season 1. We're going to finish up Episode 2. And then we're going to go to Episode 3 and start Episode 3. So that'll be fun. And I hope you haven't yet, you're going to check out my review of the Fallout TV series over on my DSP Reacts channel. It's the highlighted videos. There's two of them. The first video is essentially, I talk about if the show is any good by summarizing what happens in it and giving you my thoughts. The second part talks about hot topics of debate, such as, is the lore disturbed in this show? Is it woke, etc., etc.? I know that you guys are still probably watching the show, many of you. You've been telling me so much, so I hope that you guys will watch it and check it out and let me know your thoughts. Be sure to leave comments in the like. It helps a lot. So then Monday, we get back to gameplay. And Monday, the daytime stream will be Helldivers 2. And Monday night, what I'd like to do in Street Fighter 6 is I would like to take Zangief, a character who, out of the 5 characters that I played the most with in Street Fighter 6, Zangief was the one I never got to master rank. So I think my next goal in Street Fighter 6 is I would like to get Zangief to master rank. And he was in Diamond. Now, I don't know. They said they hit a reset button when they did this last patch. I don't know if that means that I'm back to like low Diamond or if I stayed at the Diamond level I was at. I have no idea. But I would like to keep playing with Zangief and try to, you know, get to master. And that's going to be a tough climb. So I'm going to study some videos. I'm going to try to absorb some tech. And we're going to see what happens. I'll probably do some casual play, and then I'll jump into ranked. And that's going to be my goal with Zangief, is to try to get him to master next. That's the next climb for me in Street Fighter 6, okay? So that's Monday night. Tuesday, we'll probably do more Elden Ring. But Tuesday night, as well as Wednesday night, are now completely open. Because if I was going to do the co-op tonight, which I'm not doing anymore, then basically Tuesday night was going to be Star Wars, and then Wednesday was going to be like a final open stream for the week. But now I have like 2 nights open, Tuesday and Wednesday night. I'm thinking we'll probably do Helldivers again on Wednesday. Like, so we'll do like a Monday and Wednesday Helldivers combo. But now I don't know what to do Tuesday and Wednesday night. I definitely don't want to be playing Street Fighter every night. It's too much. Like, maybe Street Fighter's good, but it definitely it works me up, as you know. Gets me all full of adrenaline and rage, and I only want to play it a couple times this week. I don't want to go crazy here. I see people asking in the chat about Harold Halibut. I guess none of you pay attention. We talked about Harold Halibut on Wednesday, and the consensus was no one wants it. I played it on Tuesday. Within 1 hour of me playing it, we went from over 400 viewers down to only 200, and everyone complained the game was boring as dirt. The video views did not do well. The comments on this is like, wow, this is boring. No one seemed to like it. So I don't know why you guys now would be coming back and asking for it when literally everyone said that they didn't like it. I'm not making that up. We had the conversation on Wednesday on this very show, and everyone in chat was like, nah, we watched it. It's just not very good. So I don't know. We have to figure out what we want to do. You know, and we could talk about it. You know, if you want to do 2 hours of Harold Halibut on one of those nights, I'd be okay with it. But you guys said you didn't want it, which is why I stopped playing it. What we could do is we could go into Game Pass. People have been saying, why don't we do a Game Pass night, right? And we could maybe try to figure that out, see if there's any games on there to play. Or, and I'm just throwing this out there, if people want to help me, we could try to set up Fightcade one night. It'll be a Fightcade setup night, where basically I use my mini PC, and we try to get Fightcade installed and working on there. I did install it, but then I tried to figure out how to use it, and I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I was like, what is this? Like, it's not intuitive in any way, shape, or form. You basically need to have, like, a whole setup guide on how to do it, because I was trying to figure it out myself. I was like, this doesn't really explain anything. I mean, pretty dumb, right? So, it's up to you. Like, I don't know what you guys want to do. Or if you want to do another Star Wars stream. You see what I'm saying? Like, with 2 nights open, both Tuesday and Wednesday, we basically have freedom to do whatever you guys want. Do you want to explore Game Pass games and more indie games? Do you want to try to set up Fightcade one night? Do you want to just do a hangout session? Do you want to do some Star Wars? Like, what do you want? I'm down for whatever. I just need to know what you guys want. We got to figure this out, okay? So, yeah. So, if that's what you want. So, let's talk about that. We got today, tomorrow, and Monday to figure it out. Because then by Tuesday night, we got to figure out what we're doing, right? I'd be down for whatever. You know, I really would. Some people are saying Fightcade would be good, but keep in mind, there's going to be a whole stream of me just setting it up. It's going to take me a while. Got to install, got to find. I guess we got to find these ROMs. I don't know where the fuck the ROMs are or how you get them. I don't even know if it's legal. I know nothing about this. I don't know if it's legal anymore. I used to be basically completely You would download an emulator with an add-on for whatever the online component was. Then you would have to go find the ROMs somewhere on the internet, and there was always like 10 versions of the ROM, so you never knew what the right one was. So you go to boot it up, and it's like the European version of the fucking game you wanted, and it runs at the wrong speed. Like, what is this? This is the wrong game, you know? So I don't know anything about it. I don't know how to get it to work or whatever. I guess we have to figure it out, right? But that's what I mean. We'd have to do it together because I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea. You Google the game and the ROM, it takes like 14 seconds. Yeah, but I thought that's not legal, right? Am I wrong here? Am I wrong that just downloading ROMs you're not supposed to be able to do that? You don't have to find the ROMs anymore. You drop a file in the directory and it fetches the games automatically. You see, so I'm not kidding you. Within 5 seconds of each other, I got two completely contradictory statements in my chat. One person says you have to Google the game and the ROM and get the ROMs manually, and the other person says, no, it does it automatically. Did you see my confusion with how to do stuff? Like, this is the kind of advice I get. I get completely contradictory information within 5 seconds. And it's like... People are just saying emulation is a lot easier than it used to be. I mean, that's good. That's a good thing, obviously. And I'm sure tons of people do Fightcade, so... You know, I just want to know how to do it. So, again, it's a possibility. Let's figure this out. Now you know. Tuesday and Wednesday night is open this week. I need advice on what you guys want to see. I would like feedback on what you want to do. Please share. And let's you know, talk about it and figure it out. Obviously, people have been asking for Fightcade ever since I got my mini PC last August. And so... maybe it's time to finally get it set up. Even if we don't play it regularly, just to have it as an option to play old school fighting games, which sounds like it would be fun. For me, the one thing that sounds frustrating is that you guys are telling me that there's no, like, for example, when you buy a game on a console, everything's done through the game on the console, right? What you're telling me is that no, like with Fightcade, you basically have to have like your mouse and keyboard with you at all times so that you can go into like this listing of people available to play. You click on it. It's like its own matchmaking system that's different. And like, I don't have any of that. Like, I have a mouse and keyboard over there in front of the TV. I don't have anywhere to put them. I'm literally surrounded by equipment with my current setup. I don't even know where I would put that stuff to have. Like, I don't even know if the mouse would reach over here. I think it would. It looks like a pretty long cable, but you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm not equipped for this kind of PC shit. I don't do shit on PC. I haven't done anything on PC in so dang long. I would have to, like, figure out how to even make it work. I have to see if, like, that mouse would have to reach and I have to somewhere to put it. I don't really have anywhere to put it. So, I mean, that's going to be part of the stream is me trying to set up a way to get this to work that becomes more stable and reliable that I can just get to work and not have to do a bunch of setup and shit every time I play it. Yes, my arcade stick is PC compatible. In fact, it actually has a switch right on it that says PS5, PS4, and PC. So I can just easily switch this stick down to PC, and this will work with my mini PC, and I'll be able to play Fightcade on there. So that's not a concern whatsoever, okay? I have a wireless mouse and keyboard. The wireless mouse is connected to this desktop PC over here, and so is the wireless keyboard. I need to have that over here so I can actually interact with my desktop PC, which is way the hell over there. So, no, I don't have multiple wireless mice in PC. Okay. No, Granddad, I wouldn't set it up off stream. If you say another stupid fucking thing, I'm just going to get you out of the chat now. You're really becoming fucking obnoxious. You're just being a dick. I'm explaining. If we're going to do this, we'll set it up together. It'll be things so we can set it up, getting working. You guys helping me is going to be way easier. And you're sitting here, you're going to set it up off stream? No, shut the fuck up. Kiss my ass. How about that? Stupid idiot. Anyway. All right, so think about what you want, right? I don't know if we want to do this or not this week. It's up to you. You know, it seems like there's a random week we could do it. All right. Next week, we won't have that flexibility, and here's why. If you guys aren't aware, 2 things are going down on Thursday on my day off. The first is there's the release of Another Crab's Treasure, which is an indie game that is a Souls-like game, right? And it's starring a hermit crab. So I'd like to give it a shot. It's a Game Pass game. I have no clue if it's going to be good and it'll catch on and we'll want to play it, or we'll just do it the once and be like, wow, that was really silly, and then never play it again. Okay? Or the other thing that's going on is Fallout 4 is getting its update. It's going to be a current gen console update that improves the performance, improves the graphics, has some tweaks to it that improve it. I don't know about the DLC because some people are saying, oh, there's DLC. I literally have not seen official channels say anything that there's DLC content for the game. What I've seen is that they're saying it's a performance boost. So, anyway, with the heightened, excitement around Fallout right now, with the Fallout TV series being so popular, a lot of people are saying they're going to start playing Fallout when this update comes out. And it certainly makes sense that I would do that. Now, again, someone says in the chat, what about mods? How do you play with mods when they don't work? Mods will not work with this new version of the game. They're gonna have to, all the mods have to adjust now to work with the new version. So, no, I'm not using mods. They won't work. But, of course, the second I boot the game up, are you using mods? Anyway. So, I guess we'll see how it goes, but it seems like there is a demand for me to play Fallout 4 again. So if that's the case, then it means this next coming week, I'll be trying another Crab's Treasure, Fallout 4, continuing and trying to finish Elden Ring, plus Helldivers 2 and Street Fighter 6. Now we've got a lot of games in the rotation, and now there's no issue with empty nights anymore. You see? It really is just this week where we're having this issue. And then after that, it seems like the schedule will actually be quite packed and it won't be an issue anymore. So let's see what happens with Tuesday, Wednesday night. And then from there, it looks like next week we're going to be quite busy. Okay. The only thing that I don't know, I'm thinking, see, another Crab's Treasure is new. So I'm thinking you guys probably want that on Friday stream, right? You probably want another Crab's Treasure. And then Friday night, we'll do Friday Night Fights. And then probably Saturday, we'll maybe start Fallout 4. I'm down for that. Okay. No, it's a free patch. As long as you have access to Fallout 4, if you play it on a modern console starting this Thursday, it's going to have a free patch that's going to modernize it and make it be better. It has 2 modes, performance and quality. And then it's supposed to have tweaked the game to make it run better, or just overall, like quality of life kind of deal. And like I said, then there seems to be some kind of a weird rumor that there's DLC featuring the Enclave. I don't know where the hell that came from, because I looked around and I didn't see that in any official channels. People seem to be claiming there's an Enclave DLC being added to the game. I don't know about that. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Maximum Turbo says, I'm excited. I wonder if it'll look similar to or better than 76. Fallout 76 literally looks good, great. Like, I saw my wife play it on our day off the other day. It looks super good. The graphics are smooth 60 frames, and it's the best looking Fallout you can play right now. But maybe this will bring Fallout 4 up to snuff. In which case, good, because I feel like Fallout 4 being a narrative-based game is going to be much better. It is? All right, so people are saying they've looked it up, and both on the Bethesda site and the Steam page, there is a reference saying there's an Enclave mission or DLC that will be added. So there you go. Okay. All right, cool. It's Creation Club DLC. No wonder. So they didn't do it. That's why Bethesda didn't do it. Bethesda didn't make it. It's fan-made DLC, and they're adding it officially so people can play it. Wow, that's silly. No wonder. Here I am thinking, oh, Bethesda actually did work on Fallout 4? No. What a foolish notion. Anyway. Okay. So next week will be packed with more new stuff. This week, we just got to figure out what we're going to do Tuesday, Wednesday night. So let's continue to talk about that and figure it out. Shall we? Okay, cool. All right. That's what I got. Now, there is one news story for us to talk about today on DSP News. And for some of you, this might interest you a lot. And more of you, it might have zero interest. I'm somewhere in the middle. All right? Because this story involves TikTok. All right? This morning, the United States House of Representatives, which is one of our lawmaking bodies, passed a law that says that if the owners of TikTok, that's right, that business and website and app where you can make those stupid video clips and everyone dances and acts like a moron and does stupid comedy and all kinds of junk, right? If the owners of TikTok do not divest their company within the next 270 days, that is 9 months, TikTok will be banned outright in the United States and no one will be able to use it in our country. Okay? So how do we get to this spot? Well, after TikTok launched and became a virally popular hit, millions upon millions of Americans started using this app. Okay? However, what was found after some research was shocking, scary, and terrifying. Okay? What they found was that TikTok is owned by Chinese investors. All right? Like 100% owned by Chinese investors. Like they own the whole thing. And what they found is that without permission or without disclosure, TikTok was data harvesting from its users and was using that data for research purposes, providing it to Chinese corporations and or businesses. So imagine you're on TikTok and you're sharing stuff from your house, you're sharing stuff from geolocations that you go to, right? Well, literally China is harvesting all of that data to get information about United States citizens. For what use? Who knows? Could it be marketing? Could it be something more malicious? Well, I think the United States government doesn't really care, considering the fact that China and the US are pretty much always at odds on almost everything. Basically, this upset a lot of people in our government. And after finding this out, they actually asked people at TikTok. I remember they had like hearings where they were, investigating and questioning these people who work at TikTok, saying, does your app take data or not? Does it use it for this or not? And essentially TikTok's answers were very evasive. Like they wouldn't outright answer in a way that made our government officials feel too good about it. And so they all decided, well, since TikTok isn't being transparent, we've decided that we're going to try to outlaw the app unless they sell to a non-Chinese company. In which case, then the data wouldn't be provided to China, which essentially could be like our enemy having all data on our populace. So basically, that's what's going on. Now, with 9 months to go, right? What's going to happen? I mean, you can speculate. And it's like, I don't know the ins and outs of how this works. All right? But the way I see it, TikTok, everyone knows, is going to be a huge moneymaker for this company that owns them. TikTok is one of the biggest apps ever made. Every person is using this thing for dumb shit. It became virally popular, especially kids. And that's kind of the creepiest thing. This app is essentially spying on children in mass numbers and getting data about what children do, what they consume. You know what I'm saying? And who knows what kind of data the owners of this app have. Something that seems so innocent, right? And I compare this to Facebook. When Facebook launched and every person ran to Facebook thinking, oh, this is awesome. Let's post up name, address, phone number, where I work, where I shop, where I like to eat, where I go to drink after work, where, what kind of car I drive. They post up all, my friends, my family members, my significant other, all my extended family, everyone who I work with, all on my Facebook at once. It's like you've literally put your entire fucking life on the internet in front of everyone for them to see. Don't you think that possibly that could be a bad idea if someone doesn't like you and wants to use some of that information against you? And everyone was like, no, that's fine. No one would ever want to do that. And then what ended up happening was that's exactly what happened. Facebook over the years has been used for tons of malicious purposes, whether it's, marketing with a company, scams. Scams are rampant, absolutely rampant on Facebook. Hacking of accounts to fake someone, get your information. Now you're screwed because they're taking all your money and shit. Hell, I mean, it was just recently found out, they had Mark Zuckerberg there in Capitol Hill in front of Congress, basically apologizing publicly to parents whose kids had been abused or even murdered as a result of pedophilia rings on Facebook. And it's like, this is the problem with social media. People just think, oh, it's just everyone do it. Everything's safe. It's good. No, it's not. It's not safe. It's not good. It's incredibly dangerous. And too many people are completely ignorant to the fact that the stuff you put on the internet can easily be weaponized against you. You have to be careful about what information you put. You have to be so careful about anything you click on because anything could screw you over. for, you know, a million things, right? So I'm sure TikTok is harvesting all this data on Americans and using it for all kinds of fucking fucked up purposes. All right. It's like undoubtable. There's some people out there who are going to use it for bad reasons. So with 9 months time frame provided now by our lawmakers, you know, the question is what's going to happen? Well, let's think about this. If you own TikTok and you're making insane amounts of money on the app and you're getting a bunch of data out of this app that you're then selling for even more money to whoever knows who, are you just going to want to sell the company off because the United States says they're not going to allow it to be used anymore? First of all, TikTok is not just in the US. It's worldwide. It's a worldwide app. Everyone's using it. So you're talking one country. Now, admittedly, probably Americans are using it a lot. I don't know what the actual percentile numbers there are, but could this app continue to go on to be super profitable if the United States doesn't use it? In 9 months, could a actual reasonable legal offer even be issued? Like, can you imagine the value of TikTok? Like how much it must be worth? What kind of an offer? Who's going to field that offer? What company out there would want to spend that much money to buy a TikTok and put it under its umbrella? Because here's the thing. You know that no matter who you are, if you buy TikTok, you're essentially buying something that already has the ire and attention of the U.S. government on it. So if you buy TikTok, now you got to make sure that your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted, and you're doing everything right, and there's no mishandling of information, and there's nothing malicious happening, because the United States already doesn't like you, right? And they're going to be on you about everything. So think about that. Not only am I going to spend an insane amount of money to buy this app and company, but now I have to basically kind of structure it so that I'm protected from any kind of legal liability for anything that happens with data that's gathered from this app. So it's kind of confusing. Like I don't know if this really is a strategy where the U.S. government actually wants TikTok to not be owned by Chinese interests, or maybe this is just a way of them knowing no one's going to buy it, and therefore it just bans TikTok from the United States. Now, here's the thing. All right? Here's where you get into big debates. Because some people are saying, well, this is bad, and here's why. This is a case where the U.S. government is essentially telling you you can and can't use something on the internet, right? Like, we're just going to ban TikTok. Well, yes and no. They're not banning TikTok. They're banning a Chinese company from harvesting data from its citizens, is what it's doing. If TikTok was not harvesting user data and using it for purposes that are unknown, then I don't think the government would care. The problem is they have outright evidence of this. They asked TikTok people in hearings about it, and they had no clear answers about any of it. Basically, they were elusive on purpose because they're guilty. So that's the thing. Like, basically what you're seeing here is the government is basically kind of being afraid, right? This is a country that we're basically not really allied with, and we're wondering what they're doing with this data and can it be used to hurt the citizens or government of the United States. So we're going to ban TikTok, but we'll give them a fair chance, sell it in 9 months. But is that really a fair chance, right? And if this is the first step, then what comes next, right? Because YouTube is owned by an American company, that's okay. Because Facebook is owned by an American company, that's okay. Like, they're already grilling Zuckerberg. Like, he's been on Capitol Hill many times for all kinds of different problems with Facebook, you know, and they keep giving him hell. But he seems to be kind of immune, like nothing's really happened. Facebook still continues. Meta still continues. As much of a stupid thing it is, and no one really cares that much about it anymore, they still continue. It's not like they're saying, hey, you fucked up, Zuck. You know, you had a pedophilia rings on your site. People got hurt. Sell your company. They're not saying that. They're just saying, shame on you. Fix the problem, right? So I can see both sides of the argument. Does the government, the U.S. government, have the best interests of its citizens and itself in mind? Probably, because we haven't seen evidence that they're just going to start doing this across the board to companies they don't like. This is not an outright case of we're burning books or we're banning certain content. In fact, I don't even think the government cares what content is on TikTok. They just care that it's harvesting the data of our citizens, right? So I'm not sure if it's really as dangerous as people are saying, because a lot of people are saying this is just the first step. This is the slippery slope. Now you're going to start sliding, and the government will now overreach further and say you can't do this and you can't do this and you can't do this. I mean, we already live in a place, I'm not kidding you, there's certain states in the United States, I think one of them was New York City did this. Not a state, but that's a city. But the point I'm making is they outright said, for example, you can no longer buy a extra large soda at a fast food chain. Extra large sodas, like super size, is banned because of an obesity epidemic in the United States. Too many people are being irresponsible, and therefore you cannot buy that size of a soda at a fast food place. Now, I want you to think of how stupid that law is, right? Anyone can literally just go buy a 2-liter of soda from the grocery store for like $1 and drink it if they want. But if I go to the fast food place, I can't get a large soda. Like, what? But they did it. They outright banned it. And of course, there was big controversy and stuff that our government is overstepping its bounds. So in this case, when we're talking about TikTok, this is tech. This has to do with pop culture. This has to do with gaming. This has to do with so many things. It affects many different sectors of life to be regulating it like this or outright banning it like this. Okay? Is it overreaching? Again, I will say this. The government has issue with many other social media sites. Like, they don't like Elon Musk, but they're not shutting down Twitter, right? They don't like Zuckerberg, you know that, but they're not shutting down Facebook. It's not that they don't like TikTok. It's that we have outright evidence that they are harvesting user data for likely malicious and underhanded purposes and things that could actually hurt our country and populace, and that's why they're doing it. By the way, I'm not defending their actions. I'm just saying this seems to be a different situation. Now, is this a case where basically you do think that they're overstepping or not? I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are. Like, I don't know. Like, my thoughts are, if we had outright evidence that the data was being used maliciously, then maybe something should happen. But I'm not aware that we have that evidence. I think it's still all speculation at this point, right? It's just weird. I don't know. Truly, I don't want the U.S. government going out there and saying, well, guess what? We decided now that no one can use YouTube. Wait, what? Why? Oh, well, we found that, there's a couple companies that are using stuff maliciously on YouTube. It's anti-U.S. and it could hurt citizens. So, you can't use YouTube anymore. Wait, what? No. That would not be good. So it just feels to me like maybe it is at the beginning of a slippery slope. At the same time, again, no, I don't think that China should be harvesting data on our citizens. And let's be honest here. I just think it's just this gross, what's the word? Ignorance, this gross gullibility that people think that everything on the internet is safe. They literally think it doesn't matter if I put all my information on a social media site, no one will care, and it could never be used for anything malicious against me. Everyone else is doing it. And I hate to say it, that seems to be the mentality. Everyone else is doing it. I remember before I was a YouTuber, all right, I had an office job. And everyone in my office job had a Facebook account except for me. I'm serious. Like, every fucking person had one. And they were all networking, and they were sending messages, and they were inviting each other out to drinks, and they were posting family photos, and they were posting party photos, and this person is networked to this person. And they say, well, Phil, can I have your Facebook? What are you talking about? I don't have a Facebook. You don't have a Facebook? I was like, no. Why would I want a fucking Facebook? It just seems so stupid. First of all, who cares about me? I don't care enough about me to post my shit up all over the internet. Why would I want to, you know what I mean? It just felt like so self-aggrandizing. Like, I am so important that I need to post up everything about myself on the internet for everyone to watch, because obviously this is some kind of a judgment of my worth on this planet. To me, I was like, there is zero worth in a Facebook page. It doesn't mean anything. It's a joke from people who are trying to feel more important than they really are, right? I mean, how trite and boring is your life that you actually think that you're important because you have like 100 friends on Facebook? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nobody cares. No one should care. But it was so weird to me, right? And so eventually they did talk me into having it, and I never used it. Like, I remember I made it, and I literally never used it. And later on closed it. And then when I became a YouTuber, people once again convinced me to make a Facebook page. And I was like, well, I'm really not going to use it. And so I had a page that essentially it mirrored my Twitter. So whenever I posted to Twitter, it would post to Facebook. And then after a few years of not using it, I just closed that too. And now I don't use it at all. I don't use anything. Like my Instagram is unused. The only social media I use is Twitter/X. That's it. The only one. And of course, YouTube community posts. Those are the two things that I post on the internet. So yeah, like for me, I never understood it, but it was hilarious that all those people thought it was safe. And now here we are, you know, so many years later, how many of those people probably had all kinds of issues because they put all their shit on Facebook? How many of them fell for scams? How many of them fell for shitty ad campaigns? You know what I'm saying? Like they probably all got fucked with over the years because they had all their shit on Facebook. It's like a rampant thing. This isn't like a fringe thing. This became mainstream, that Facebook became bereft with this kind of content. And like I said, there's all kinds of shit that happens that's malicious and illegal on those sites. So I don't know, like I can see how dumb people are, and they all sign up for TikTok and they all put all their information on the internet like morons, right? And it's just so silly and stupid, right? You just think that you're safe because, well, no one would ever want to use this against me. No one would ever. No, there are people out there right now. It doesn't even matter if you're the most unimportant, not, talked about person on this planet. There are companies out there that would love your information because you're just dropping a bucket. But once that bucket of data is full and they know all what's in that bucket, they can use that statistically to do things, whether it's marketing, whether it's something else more malicious. Who knows? I don't know. That's up for our government to figure out. But I kind of get it. Like, people are just so dumb to put all their information out there on the internet, and then it ends up being so harmful, and everyone's just ignorant of it, And I hate to say it, like, perfect example, many years ago, there was an issue where my viewers were getting harassed and attacked on social media all the time. And they were like, well, why is this happening? Because your social media is the same name as the account you use on YouTube, which is the same name that you use in the Twitch chat, and everyone could figure this shit out, and now they harass you. It's dumb, but it was an issue. It was a big issue at one point. People were getting doxxed and harassed just because all their information was linked in public. Like I always say, if you're going to be here in the YouTube chat, right, and you're going to interact publicly, make up an account. Literally make up an account that basically is nothing linked to any of your real life stuff. Don't have a YouTube account that's the same name as any other account you have on the internet. It must be different. That way, if someone for some reason gets a bug up their ass about you and wants to harass you, they don't have anything to work with, right? Be careful about what you say in a public chat. Right now, I do not recommend that any of you say where you live. Don't say your real names. Don't say where you live. Leave that, you're supposed to be anonymous on the internet. You know what I mean? As a reason for that, for self-protection. Understand that there's people out there who have bad intentions. I had people, no exaggeration, who catfished for a year and a half. There's two different people who did this. They pretended to be someone they were not. A different gender, a different race, completely different name, acted like they lived somewhere they did not, made up a whole backstory about their life and their job, and then befriended a bunch of people on my streams. And then a couple of them became moderators, just chat moderators of mine, to try to help out. And then come to find out, a year and a half later, this was a faker. This was an asshole. This is someone who was just faking everyone to try to basically get inside information on people, whether it was me or my other moderators or actual viewers and fans. Like, they had actually had friendships with people. Personal conversations had happened behind the scenes. And it was like, and this person was not real. It was 100% a catfish, a person who literally just was a loser, had nothing to do with their life. And they thought that this was somehow going to negatively affect me. It did not negatively affect me at all. They literally wasted. It's two different people who did it. Twice this happened. It's not just once, twice. It's like, damn, these people are really losers. They just sit around constantly with nothing to do but waste their time trying to catfish people. And that's why when people say stuff to me like, oh, what you're saying is far-fetched and never would have happened. And I'm like, no, but this crazier thing already happened. These two different people spent a year and a half pretending to be someone else to befriend people and get in good graces, and then later on revealed that they were not who they said and were trying to hurt me or the community or both. Of course, they didn't win. They're losers. They didn't hurt anything at all. They're just morons. But, You see what I'm saying? Like, you got to be very, very, very careful about stuff on the internet. You should not be sharing personal information. You should not be posting that up publicly. And these people using TikTok don't think about that at all. They just open up their phone and immediately start broadcasting. I'm dancing in my house. What's behind you? What's behind you in the shop? All your shit. It could have your fucking addresses. It could have information. It could have other people who shouldn't be involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bad, man. People don't think about that stuff. They, whatever. Just turn on and fucking dance and look, I got 1,000 views on TikTok. Anyway, so this is going to be an ongoing thing. We have 9 months to figure out what's going on with TikTok. Will TikTok end up being banned in the United States? In which case, I think that's going to be a culture change because a lot of people use TikTok, right? I don't, but tons of people do. TikTok became so popular, YouTube has outright copied it with YouTube Shorts. It's literally a carbon copy of trying to be TikTok, right? So what will happen? I don't know. We'll have to see. Will TikTok consider selling to someone who's not China owned? I don't know. I don't know why the owners would release that control, especially because, again, TikTok is not so localized to just the United States. It's popular outside of the United States as well. It's probably likely very profitable for them. And maybe they say, it doesn't make sense. We'd rather cut our losses here and say, listen, we lose the United States, but we keep the world control of everything else and all that data. We'd rather keep it. So we might be saying goodbye to TikTok in 9 months here in the United States. You will not see any of us doing dances or doing shake challenges or, everything that's so meaningful on there. As you know, it's very meaningful content. It's totally not losable. If TikTok shuts down, all life as we know it will come to a screeching standstill halt because it's some of the most useful, intelligent content ever put on the planet, correct? So there you go. All right. That's the only news story I have for today. If there's developments on that moving forward, we'll talk more about it. All right. So some people in the chat are like, this isn't about gaming. Well, it is. It's about culture. It's about pop culture. It's about all kinds of culture. It's about social media. It affects us. That's why it's a news story for me. Even though it involves some politics with the U.S. government, it's not really a political story. It's a story that everyone's going to be talking about in the next few months as we figure out what's going to happen with this. Okay. So it's worthy of touching or covering on the show. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get to the shout out segment of the podcast. Now, first off, we have absolutely no contributions on the YouTube side. No super chats, no memberships, and no gifted memberships. That's just a statement of fact, not a complaint. I'm now going to do shout outs for tips. Okay? So we're going to start off with the first tip of the day, which is a $10 tip from BB Phil. Listen to this. Maybe we can buy raffle tickets during the possible Street Fighter event and win an autographed item like an old hat, which is no longer in the hat goal rotation. That would provide a new opportunity for people to get your autograph. The proceeds could go towards a new PC. To my knowledge, and this is completely probably outdated knowledge, raffles are not allowed on YouTube nor Twitch. It is considered gambling. And whenever there's gambling on one of these sites, there has to be formal regulation involved. Shit, where's my underscore? There, I don't know why I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the underscore. There it is. So yeah, it's I believe that raffles are considered gambling. And the only way that a raffle is allowed is if it's completely free. So if it's a free giveaway, that's fine. If it's a silly thing that does not involve money, but anything that involves money or monetary things that has to do with a chance, that's gambling. And therefore, that's something I don't want to touch with a 1,000-foot pole. I don't want to have YouTube attack coming at me and saying, hey, we heard you did a gambling stream and, that violates terms of service and yada, yada, yada. So no, I would not be doing anything like that. Thank you for the first tip of the day. I received a $7.77 tip from BB Phil. You refuse to adopt the button mashing and pattern meta you encounter in Street Fighter 6 online yourself because it's contrary to the spirit of how fighting games should be played, or is it because you don't have time to learn the patterns? It's not a fun activity to play in the game that way. I am a very different animal than the vast majority of people who play Street Fighter. Okay? I would like to say this. I'm almost a purist, and here's what I mean. During the time when Street Fighter was being converted from arcade cabinets to console, I was adamant that we should stay on cabinets. I want the authentic experience. Everyone should be using the same hardware. No one should have an unfair advantage. You shouldn't be playing a game that's inferior to the true arcade experience. I was a purist. I wanted the arcade cabinets to continue. That phased out, and there was nothing you could do about it. I was one of many who thought that you were going to lose the purity. You lose the purity of the game if you were playing different versions. You know what I'm saying? So, what can you do, right? Then, later on, when games started using shortcut buttons, right? Press this button and it's all 3 punches together. Press this button and it activates a special ability. I was like, no, I'm just going to use the buttons that are intended. So when I play Tekken, I use the 4 buttons and I press those buttons together to do the moves. When I play Street Fighter, I have 6 buttons and I press all those buttons together to do the moves. I don't use shortcut buttons. That's just how I play games, because that's how I grew up playing them in arcades. I'm very different than most people. Most people who play competitive fighting games today started around Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5. So they grew up with, I play on a pad. And, I have 700 shortcuts up here to do everything quickly. And you know what I'm saying? It's just very different for me. I'm a whole other generation than most people who are playing fighting games today. All right? So, when you're playing fighting games, and you're playing people who are online, and what they do is they learn a pattern that they can execute. All right? Think of it this way. It is a flowchart. Like, flowchart, Ken, is the running meme and joke in the FGC, but it very much stands to reason. A lot of people who play fighting games today are flowchart players. What that means is they have memorized like 1 or 2 sequences of events that they can execute, and that's all they execute. If things don't go according to plan, if something goes awry, if the flowchart breaks down for some reason, they lose. Okay? And that is what's happened a lot with modern fighting games, is people who buy these games and play them, even try to play them competitively, don't actually have fundamental knowledge of how to play the fighting game. They don't understand what footsies means. They don't even know what a high-low mix-up is. They don't know what an option select means. What they know is just do this pattern over and over. Just do this pattern over and over, over and over, over and over. Hey, look, I won. And sadly, modern fighting games have become so easy to play with very little execution required anymore. No entry level of skill. You don't have to sit there and grind to practice. It's more like you learn that within 5 seconds. It's more about just consistency and execution and timing rather than actual skill level of entering moves and the like. A lot of people can just learn right away and just start spamming that pattern. When I say spamming, that's what I mean. A lot of people think spamming means they're just doing this. No. What I mean is they're just doing the same strategy, the same pattern, the same flowchart over and over ad nauseum. They don't think about timing or anything. They just fucking throw out that one thing that's overpowered over and over. Now, maybe there's some variations on it, and the better players will find ways to do that safe pattern and then, pretend like I'm going to do it another time and don't. Wait for you to react as if you're going to try to beat it, and then they punish your reaction. Okay? But when I play Street Fighter Online, I'm not looking to do any patterns. I'm not looking to just spam the same thing over and over. I'm a more reactive player. Meaning when I play, it's like when I used to play in arcades. Do I have a game plan in mind? Sure I do. Especially when I used to play with like Balrog or something like that in Super Turbo. If you can bully someone right away, then take advantage. But for the most part, when I play fighting games, I'm more about reacting to what the opponent is doing, finding a way to punish or go around it, and then capitalize on their mistakes. And that's a whole different kind of play. There's entire characters based around that style of play. It's basically anti-rushdown. Any rushdown character I usually don't use in fighting games because that's just not my style. I don't like constant offense. I like kind of mixing it up, kind of playing a little bit more apprehensively, waiting and then, take advantage of them. That kind of play, sadly, is not rewarded in modern fighting games most of the time. Most of the time in modern fighters, you are rewarded by just playing one pattern, one flowchart over and over, execute it perfectly, done. That's the fighting game. That's boring as shit. From anyone from my era, my generation, where number one, that shit didn't exist back then, and number two, where we actually had to have skill, timing, execution, knowledge of all these fundamentals and bring these into the competitive era or the competitive venue of any game that you played or any tournament you entered. You needed to have all that. If you just had one strategy, you'd beat a couple people and then you would get spanked by anyone who had a higher level understanding of the game. These games, you can literally just play your pattern online, and if it drops one input of your opponent, like me playing Blanca, Oops, one input didn't come out. Well, I'm stuck in the corner for the whole round because it just benefits the flowchart player. I will never be a flowchart player. I refuse to. I would never have fun playing like a flowchart player. I would lose my mind. I'd be so bored because it's like you're not even playing a fighting game. That's not even what the spirit of a fighting game is supposed to be. You know, you're supposed to be using tactics and intelligence. And so many people just fucking think that fighting games are more simple. Why? Because people play them that way now because they're designed that way. That's supposed to be the entry-level gameplay for someone who doesn't understand fighting games can get in there and at least get some wins. That's not supposed to be the meta. But take a look at the meta of Street Fighter. It's literally 5 characters who just rush you down the entire round. It's exactly the same. They're all flowcharts. It's stupid because it shouldn't be like that. But that's what the games have become. They've dumbed down the games to the point where now it's so easy to play that anyone could memorize the meta and immediately just repeat it ad nauseum, and it's dumb shit. And I hate that. I want a game where a character like Zangief can win just as much as a character like Luke or Ken. I want a game where an oddball character like Blanca or Honda can hang with the character who can endlessly safely attack you. And it's just not like that right now. So that's why I don't play those characters. That's why I have no entertainment value fighting those characters. It's just boring. There's nothing inspired or creative or interesting about that gameplay. It's just the same shit over and over. You know, every time you fight a Ken, you're going to say the same thing. Every time you fight a Luke, you're going to see exactly the same thing. There's no variation in their gameplay. Now, tell me that every single Blanca plays the same. Blanca's play very differently. I've seen Blanca's play tons of different ways. That's cool and creative. That's what I like to see in a fighting game. Creativity, originality, independent, intelligent fucking thought instead of mouth-drooling repetition. That's the difference. And me growing up in arcades, seeing that everyone played differently in arcades because there was no meta on the internet in 2 days. So everyone was always constantly learning, trying different strategies. That whole era of discovery is some of the most fun part of fighting games. And it's lost on most people today who just say, I need to learn meta flowchart. Mash, here it is. It's stupid. You're not even playing the game. You might as well not play the game if that's what you're going to do. But that's how they play it because they don't know better. Like I said, this is a new generation of people who've never even played at that level. They don't even have a concept of what that means. I don't understand. I'm just supposed to do this spam thing we can. You know, that's how you play Street Fighter 6, right? No, that's not supposed to be Street Fighter 6. But for a lot of people, that's what it is. And I'm never going to do that. You're never going to see me taking advantage of that. You're not. I don't like that at all. I've never enjoyed that. You'll almost never see me play top tiers in most fighting games. Okay. I received a $5 tip from Guitar Player. Since Fallout 4 is getting current gen update, when can we expect a current gen update for Starfield? That's great. When can we get a current gen update for their latest game, Starfield, so it runs good on modern consoles? Wow. That was a good one. You razzed them really good there, Guitar Player. Thanks for the tip. Excellent. Let's see here. I received a $4 tip from Rocky. He says, happy Saturday, Phil. I had 3 of my fingers broken in a car accident this week. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. This has sidelined my Dragon's Dogma 2 playthrough. I'm all right, mostly otherwise. Any suggestion from you or chat for games you can play being unable to hold a controller, being one-handed? For a while, my friend dropped off Phoenix Wright games for me to play. Yeah, I would say any narrative-based style game, right? Any narrative-based game. Turn-based RPGs, for sure, right? Anything that's turn-based or slower paced like that, you could play, well, yeah, for sure. That's what I would recommend. I would recommend narrative-based games and turn-based RPGs. Obviously, you can't drive, you can't fly, you can't do action combat, fighting games are out. You know, anything that has a slower pace is what I would recommend for now, anyway. So there you go. I hope that you get better soon. I'm very sorry to hear that. Let's see here. I received a $1 tip from Kirk. I don't understand the harvesting data thing. All they're doing with it is make a better product and service, right? They also accuse TikTok of dumbing down America's youth. Well, in China, TikTok is all science and smart stuff, which I don't agree. What do you think? Again, the thing is, I only know what I've heard. I don't actually know, nor I don't know if anyone actually knows the truth of the data. Like, do we actually know what TikTok is doing with this data? Or is this just all guesswork by the U.S. government and officials? Right? Do we even know anything? I don't know if we have any concrete information at all. It's just supposition, and that is kind of dangerous. If the government doesn't actually know what the TikTok is using the data for, or even what kind of data they're harvesting properly, then how can you make a judgment like this? That's probably one of the big parts of the issue a lot of people are seeing. Just because the government is assuming, and because the TikTok officials could not answer well when asked questions about it, the government just assumes the worst and now wants to ban the thing. And what's next? Right? I think that's one of the reasons people are saying slippery slope. You see? Okay. I received a $2 tip. The LA Dodgers suck just donated $2 and says, Bill, would you ever live stream on TikTok if they offered you a big contract? No. I don't see the point. I tried YouTube Shorts. That did nothing for my business. I'm a unique case where I'm not going to benefit from that, so I don't care. I received another $2 tip from Goji Tanks. Do you think you'll ever reinstall Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Edition again? No. The game is terrible. It runs horribly. I'm sure by now the player base is even smaller. And now that I should have access to Fightcade, that's probably what I will do. I received a $2 tip from an anonymous tipper. Happy Saturday. Curious why you pronounce Derek's name like Derek instead of Darish. Because I didn't know that his name was actually pronounced Darish until many, many years later. I'd been calling him Derek in the chat for like 3-4 years, and then I found out it was pronounced differently. And he's like, nah, just keep pronouncing it the way you have. I'm used to it. Anonymous tipper, tip $2. Do you and Kat plan on watching Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? No, we have brains, so we don't actually waste them. We actually, try to use them. And then we received a $2 tip from an anonymous tipper. No, from Wingo. You and Kat plan on traveling or vacationing anywhere? No, we would like to, but we just don't have the time or means or money to do it. So the answer is no, not now, maybe in the future. Okay. Well, there you go. I received a $10 tip. So basically, 1 Minute Man tipped me $10 and wants to know why I didn't read his full message yesterday. 1 Minute Man is very simple. Because your full message yesterday had a political stuff in it. That's why. And as you know, this is not DSP politics. I have no intention of starting DSP politics. I don't want to start DSP politics at all. At this point, I've talked about it that in the future, perhaps I would. And of course, there's been a big debate about would I ever do political content. Literally, the second half of one of your tips yesterday was 100% white hot political contentious stuff. And I was not going to read that. Like, I talked about all the stuff you talked about Fallout, right? And we talked about the actors and everything. But I was not going to be doing political stuff. And by the way, it's not you. I do that with everyone. There's a lot of people that try to stir this stream or content towards political things. And I refuse to do it. I have a right to decide what I want to do in my content. This is a gaming channel. This is meant to be talked about pop culture and gaming and stuff like that. It's not meant to be political content in any way, shape, or form. Not for now. Every once in a while, we get a story that crosses the borders. For example, the TikTok story, that's pop culture, that's social media, that does involve gaming to some extent. It involves a lot of things. That's a story that's worth talking about. But some of the stuff that you said yesterday in one of the tips literally went to the point where it had nothing to do with the subject matter. It was 100% political. And I was like, I'm not going there because all it's going to do is cause problems. The same reason we don't have major religious discussions in my content. I've always had that policy that politics and religion are kind of off the table unless it is highly involved or ingrained in something having to do with gameplay, right? If we're playing a game and politics is part of the subject matter, that's one thing. If we're playing a game and religion is part of the subject matter, that's one thing. But I don't want to be talking about these hotbed political issues in my content whatsoever at all, all right? And it's that simple, all right? And quite frankly, I don't feel like I should have to be pressured to bring stuff up in my content for risk that someone would withdraw support or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate your support every single day. I really do. I mean, you're here almost every day contributing. And the last few months, out of nowhere, right, ever since I started playing Baldur's Gate 3, you become more and more vocal about Baldur's Gate and other gaming topics and things like that. And that's fine. And I appreciate that. It's good. It adds content to the podcast, discussion, right? But when it gets to the point where now people want to guide my streaming directions I don't want to go, that's where I draw the line. We're going to talk about Fallout 3. We're going to talk about, is it woke? That's fine. But you want to talk about other things that are political things? We're not going to do that. All right. And I have the right to make that decision. All right. And if you respect that, great. And if you don't respect it, I can't make you respect it. Right. There's nothing I can do about that. But I'm not going to have my business and my streams and my content pulled in that direction, especially when I feel like long term, for now, it would be more harmful than helpful. Like I was saying, I feel like eventually, as I get older, okay, as I get older, I definitely know that we're probably going to start doing stuff that's not just gaming. But I don't think we're ready to do it yet. Reason being, right now, look how contentious the United States is, right? Right now, some of these hotbed political issues, people are going crazy with this upcoming election. And it's like, if you're not on one side or the other, people will hate you for not being in line with their agreements, correct? Or their agreements, excuse me, in line with their beliefs is what I meant to say. If you're not agreeing with their thought process on a political issue, they end up hating your guts, right? So imagine now, right? We're talking about the Fallout TV show, and all of a sudden, halfway through your tip that was talking about that, you brought another political issue up in it. And now if I start talking about it, someone hears it. Oh my God, what's Phil's stance on that? Oh, I don't agree with that. Well, never watch Phil's content ever again. It's just sad because I feel like it's a big vein of immaturity in the United States. You should be able to talk about politics or religion or something else and not just upset someone because they're not in agreement with you. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the case. Sadly, in our country, specifically right now, people have been saying we are some of the most divided we've ever been. Right? So if I'm talking about Fallout 3 and whether I think it's woke or not, people should be able to just respect that and not freak out about it. But I know for a fact people did freak out about what I said. Some people, like there was one guy in the comments of the videos going crazy. Oh my God, yo, it is woke and here's why, blah, blah. It's like, dude, it's just a show. You know, it's just a show. It's not that big of a deal. We can't be bringing this kind of stuff into giant contentious arguments every fucking person's channel on YouTube, which is the point. Like I've always liked the fact that here on DSPGaming, you can escape that kind of drama content on the internet, right? There's tons of YouTube channels on this internet, right? We're all across the internet. People want to do this because it's a hot thing and they think they get clickbait views. Literally, that's what people are telling me. You should do DSP politics now because the election's coming up and you're going to get a lot of views. It's like, wait. If I do political content, it's because I want to do something that's meaningful to my audience, not because I'm going to get clickbait views, right? But that's how people are. They always want to bring that into everything else. I like the fact that when we're here and we're relaxing together, we're having a good time, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's in a video game, whatever it may be, okay? I'm happy to know that this is a place where you can be separated from everything else out there, right? A lot of people told me during all of COVID, they really appreciated that, because this was a place where they could hang out and not have to constantly hear about COVID. So now, if all you're hearing is politics, this side, that side, this side, that side, the last thing I want to do is make my channel about that, okay? So I hope you understand that answer and respect it. If not, I can't make you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you by not reading your entire message and your tips yesterday, but I did feel like the things you were saying were getting very politically charged, and I was not going to take my content in that direction, nor do I need to. There is no requirement that I'm required to read every single word out of someone's message. All the time I get people who tip, and it's really bad troll messages, and I ignore them. People who try to pull my streaming directions, like Kirk with his tips. Half the time I'm reading half of what he says because it's ridiculous, politically charged, and I'm not going to have that in my gaming content. You understand? Maybe when we get to the politics stuff, if and when we do, which is probably going to be different format. I don't even know how it's going to be. I've thought about it. You know, would it be on YouTube? Probably not. Would it be streams? I don't know. Would it be just on-demand videos? Maybe. Maybe I would take news stories, hot topics, make a certain video about each one or something like that. And then people want to get involved with their political stances and stuff. I'm cool. That's the place for it, right? But this is definitely not the place for that kind of discussion. You know what I'm saying? And again, I hope people understand that. I don't want to cause problems in this content, or for people who are just, again, it's like my way or the highway. Well, that's not me. I'm the opposite. I'm like, I want to hear everyone's take, and I want to weigh and balance other people's opinions, because I feel like that's the best way to go through life at my age, to try to figure stuff out. A lot of the times, maybe there is a level of compromise in these political issues. But the way I see it, now's not the time for politics. Not now. Especially now when things are getting so heated. The last thing I would want to do is get to a point where now people think that even if I come to DSPGaming, now I got to get inundated with a political discussion on a podcast. No, you don't. And that, so again, apologies if for any offense, if you think that I was actively trying to like spurring you by not reading all of your tips. That's not the case. At the same time, if I feel like it's going somewhere I don't want my content to go, I have the right to make that judgment. And nor do I feel like I have to be obligated to do anything because someone contributed. Okay? So I hope you understand, and I hope that makes sense. All right? We can further discuss if you like or whatever. It's always your call, right? Okay. More tips coming in. Let's see here. I received a $3.05 tip. I was wondering if you would play Cammy in your style of play. It would be interesting to know. See, here's the thing. I don't know. Because Cammy in Street Fighter 6, sadly, seems like a character that, for the most part, she's not pure rushdown. She's definitely not like a Ken or a Luke or a Jury. She's a little different. But again, man, she's that constant offense style, in your face, constantly throwing out limbs, constantly keeping you in a lockdown state, because all her moves seem to be either safe or very high priority. Get one hit, combo into a giant mash jab, and that's what kills me about the top tiers in Street Fighter 6. They are all mash jab characters, meaning if they miss a move, if they screw up that flowchart pattern that they're using, they can literally mash jab, and half the time they will recover fast enough to then continue their nonsense. And that's stupid. No character in a fighting game should be able to make a mistake and immediately recover from it and then just mash a button and get lucky and continue with their nonsense. That's bullshit. And that's one of the major problems with the game. These top tiers need to have better recovery. Or excuse me, worse recovery. They should not be instantly recovering from every move. Cammy should not be able to, every time she does an OD move, be completely safe. And like most of her moves are like that. So I hope that they fix it. I really do. But I don't know if they're going to, quite frankly. We'll see when they rebalance it. I'm sure they're going to be making some tweaks, right? The schedule is off on Nightbot. No, it's not. The schedule is correct on Nightbot. I received a $4.20 tip from Dan the Man. Thank you, Dan the Man, for the tip. I received a $2 tip from Wingo. For your next Feasting with Phil, would you do Zaxby's? I know this is a running meme, I guess, with wings. I don't know. I don't know what Zaxby's is. I've never seen one. I don't know what they have. I guess it's some kind of a freaking food chain that he eats from. I really don't know. I can't really speak to it. I don't know what it is or anything like that. So, you know. Okay. All right. I think. Oh no, I haven't. Never mind. I have not caught up. BB Phil did another super chat and says I didn't want to get you in trouble suggesting any raffle. I forgot it might come with legal issues. I'm sorry. It's okay. I know you didn't have that intention or anything, so no worries there. No Tango Dinero did a super chat. Says Saturday party with the boys. Thank you, No Tango. And Maximum Turbo did a super chat. He says that's unfortunately how discourse occurs in America now. It's either you agree with me or you're wrong and evil. There's no middle ground. I know. And again, when I was younger, all right, I was a very polarized guy back then too. And it was, again, my way or the highway. If you agree with me, great. And if not, well, then, you're wrong. And as I've gotten older, what I've tried to do is try to walk in someone else's shoes, try to understand people better, right? Try to make it so that I know that I'm at least considering different perspectives, because I feel like as a public figure, which I am now, even though I don't think I'm an important one or a big one, I know that I'm a public figure, and what I say gets listened to by hundreds to thousands of people across the internet every single day, and has some weight to it, right? I mean, how many years was I ignorant about various different things in gaming like Minecraft? And then when I finally gave it a fair shot, I was like, my God, this is really, really good. I get it now. I understand why people actually like this now. It does upset me that now that I'm not that polarized individual, that a lot of people say, oh, you've changed, and that's why we don't like you anymore. It's like, no, but I changed for the better. Do you not understand that? Because I think a lot of people are stuck in my old mindset of it's one way or the other way, and that's it, right? So, that's what gets me, is people only thinking the one way and not willing to be open-minded and at least consider someone else's opinion. You know what I'm saying? And don't hate someone just because they don't have your own opinion. Maybe try to understand how they got to where they got in their mindset. In a lot of cases, I think agreeing to disagree is better than hating someone for not agreeing with you. Do you know what I'm saying? There's tons of people who I know disagree with me on topics, and that's okay. We don't all have to always be in agreement. The fact that people can come by and still enjoy hanging out with me or having my content or whatever is a good thing, right? There's some people that don't agree with my takes on Fallout, the TV show. They think that it is woke, right? There's some people who don't agree with my takes on this kind of fanboyism or almost obsession with certain pop culture topics. They find it offensive that yesterday I said that, people who are going crazy over the lore of Fallout are very similar to back in the day, people who would go to Star Trek or Star Wars conventions with folders full of stuff and would slam it down in front of one of the actors from the show who's just sitting there just to meet fans and sign autographs to say, in this episode, there was this discrepancy with this line. And they'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what? See, these are topics that I'm coming from a certain perspective, right? And I'm trying to come from a perspective of my personal experience and reason, right? But that's okay. If you're someone who disagrees with me, that's fine. But there's some people who be like, well, I disagree with you, and because I disagree with you, that's it. I'm not going to be a fan of yours anymore. It's like, you just can't talk about nothing, right? You literally can't talk about anything these days. My way or the highway, man. I don't know. Again, I used to be like that when I was younger. And then since I became a YouTuber, progressively over the last 15, 16 years, I've changed to become way more of an open-minded person. And I think that my life is much better now, than just saying, oh, this is my ideology is this political stance, this religious stance, this stance on this game or this culture or this there. I want to hear other perspectives to at least get where people are coming from, even if I don't agree. But a lot of people I just want to hear what I believe in. Anything that's anti what I believe in is wrong. Right? But that's me. That's just me and my mentality. So, okay. All right. Well, guys, I think that's everything, is it not? I think we've caught up on everything now. I'm pretty sure we got everything done there. Antonio says Artsy Whack, what a name, has a quick 2-minute guide on how to set up Fightcade. It's quick and easy. You can do it off stream. We can skip directly to Fightcade fun. Well, again, you assume that I have time to come in here and setting stuff up behind the scenes. You assume incorrectly. I would much rather do it live so that way we can set it up together. And if there's troubleshooting needed, or something's not working or help required, then we could just do that live together, right? And in addition, I could, try some of that initial gameplay. The first match of me trying anything live on a stream or whatever, right? Versus, oh, well, yeah, I set it up off stream. So you missed all that initial kind of cool stuff, right? Excuse me. Okay. Any last minute topics? I know that we had a lot to talk about. A lot of shout outs there. Is there anything anyone would like to discuss further, or are we good? Can we end and then get ready for Elden Ring? Cracker Jacks, you missed it. We're basically just going to take that co-op and we're going to put it on the back burner for now. Every single time that we try to schedule it, something goes wrong. Today, my wife is not feeling well. And it's like, I've had enough of, promising it, and it doesn't happen. So at this point, I don't see the point of putting it on the schedule when things keep happening. All right, I had the discussion. Kat wants to do it. She literally is like, yes, I'm excited for it. But every single time that we put it on the schedule, something has happened to screw it up. So it is still going to happen. But at this point, I'm going to say probably expect it in May at this point. I don't even want to say it's going to be earlier. Maybe something will happen and one night it'll just happen. And I'll say, hey, guys, guess what? We're doing it finally. It's getting, come by if you can. But in the meantime, I'm not going to put it on the schedule anymore because I know there's people who want to see this co-op. Me included. I'm dying to do it. It's just life circumstances. But don't worry. She's all right. It's just that she wasn't feeling good last night. She had a stomach ache and then she didn't get much of a good sleep. And even today she changed the schedule where she was going to make a much more complicated dinner and stuff. And she's like, no, I'm just going to do something easy. I'm going to try to take it easy today. That's fine. So just want to wait until we're ready for it. You know what I mean? Cool. Okay, are we good? All right. That is it for the show today, everybody. Now, let's hope for no technical difficulties, because yesterday I ended the show, and we go to play, and the damn thing had all these technical issues. I'm like, ugh. So, let's hope no technical issues today. Thank you for a great show. Thanks for chilling with me. I hope that you all will continue to join me for fun stuff this week. Sorry there's no co-op tonight. I hope you'll still come by and just hang out during Star Wars. It should be a good time, right? It should be a cool, at least silly hangout session, playing a kind of a busted game. And tomorrow, React Day coming up, all kinds of good stuff. So thank you all, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Everyone have a good day. Peace out, and I'll see you later.